Let us see how we can create 2D shapes. For this, I am using a geoboard as a training material. As we see here, it's a 5x5 geoboard. This is a common TLM which can be used in schools. Geoboard is such a simple TLM that it can be easily created by the teachers. This geoboard can be created by students under the guidance of the teacher. With this, I will use rubber bands to create different shapes. It is better to use a rubber band which is tough, as sometimes making the shapes using thin rubber bands might break. Hence, it's better to use tough rubber bands. So now let us see how we can create 2D shapes using this rubber band on this geoboard. Teachers, students would have already seen different shapes and used them in some ways during their day-to-day life. It will be better that when the student comes into the class, you give the team or a student this geoboard and allow them to create shapes that they already know, seen or familiar with. When such opportunities are given, students might make mistakes or create the shapes correctly. What should the teachers do? They should give them the opportunity and let them create the shapes. After that, we can show them with demonstration how to create those shapes. Teachers, if you see this geoboard and the yellow color pins that you see on this board, we can correlate these pins to points used in geometry. So keeping these points as the basis, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I will now create a shape connecting all 5 pins. Now we get a shape which can be called a line. When we create a line, the line consists or made up of different points. With this example, the question which comes to us is, how many points are there in a line? We can then imagine that a line consists of several or uncountable number of points. While creating a shape, we should notice that we kept one point on the base. Let us say I keep this pin as the basis. Now, if you see, I use this point and then on the lower part, use another 2 points to create a shape. Now we form a shape, and if you observe, we have used 2 points in the bottom and 1 point at the top. There are 2 points at the bottom and 1 at the top. Which shape does it resemble? This resembles a triangle. Now let us understand more about triangles. Is this called a triangle only when it is seen from this side? The top point or the upper point is towards me. Suppose I turn the board like this towards the right side. Let us see what happens. Now the upper point which was there is now pointing towards this side. If we turn the same upper point towards the bottom, then we get to see the same triangle in a different way. So, by just turning the base point into different sides, we get different orientations of the triangle. With this example, we will be able to show them this concept in a better way. One thing to notice here is that we held one point as the base point and connected another point with the help of a line. Likewise, from that point, we connected to another point and then back to the base point. So we used 3 such lines to connect these points to form a triangle. Moving on, we can now see what shape we can get by connecting 4 such points. Now if you see in this shape that I have created, are the lines looking equidistant or different? If we notice, the distance between any 2 points look the same in all parts of this shape. So looking at this shape, we can understand that this shape is made up of 4 lines and they are equal in nature. With these characteristics, we can call this shape a square. We can also call a square as varga. If we notice, in every shape we create, we see vertices, sides, and angles. So how many vertices do we see in a square? We can see 4 vertices in a square. Along with these vertices, we also see there are 4 sides in a square. The important aspect that we need to understand in a square will be that these sides are straight and perpendicular. We can notice that even if we turn the shape in any direction, the characteristics will remain the same. When we turned the triangle, we noticed that the shape was changing in its basic form. However, when a square is turned, the shape and its basic characteristics will remain the same. If we see the sides and the angle it forms with each other, it is same at all vertices. So we call this right angles. As we all know, we can call an angle a right angle when it is at 90 degrees. So we can conclude that a square is made up of 4 vertices with 4 equal sides, and all the angles will be right angles. I will now create another shape. One, two, three, 4. Even this shape I created using 4 vertices. So can we call this shape also a square? One characteristic feature of the square is all sides are equal. When we see the shape seen here, do we see any difference? Are all the sides or lines equal in length? No. But if you see these 2 sides, observe the sides that I am pointing out. These sides. What are they? What are they called? They are called opposite sides. They are opposite to each other and same in length. Similarly, observe the other 2 sides. You will see that they are also same and opposite to each other. How many pairs of opposite sides do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4. Let us see. This one and this one pair. We can count 2 such opposite pairs of lines which are equal in length. In a square, all sides were equal, but in a rectangle, only opposite sides are equal. They also have 4 vertices. Let us turn it. Does it change? Lines are straight. Any difference? Or from this direction? This is also called a rectangle. It is not a rectangle only if we see it horizontally, but vertically also it is a rectangle. Since all sides are straight, the angles are 90 degrees and they are right angles. We created a triangle by connecting 3 vertices and created a square and a rectangle connecting 4 vertices. Similarly, by adding more vertices to the shape, we will be able to create different shapes. It can be using 5 points, 6 points, or 7 points. Like this, we can create any number of shapes. But initially, students will be familiar with shapes from the grade 1, but as they move towards grade 4 or grade 5, they will become familiar with area and circumference and other measurements. And it becomes easy for us to teach them these concepts with the help of the geoboard. We can even show the circumference using the geoboard. So we can create different shapes using different vertices. Sometimes in a class, if we give this geoboard to a group of students and ask them to create shapes, they might not create shapes in a particular way, but might create shapes which come to their mind. Let us see one such example. They might start pulling the rubber band and fixing it to the pins in a random way. If we observe something like this, it might not be in a regular way as we see this in different directions. So, we can use the geoboard to tell them that they can create regular shapes which have definite number of vertices as well as irregular shapes which could have indefinite number of vertices. In totality, in geometry, we can create regular quadrilaterals using vertices and also irregular quadrilaterals. If we move on and create another shape, let us say this shape. How many vertices have I chosen? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have chosen 5 vertices to create this shape. So a shape which is formed using 5 vertices is called a pentagon. We will be able to explain the characteristics of a pentagon and show them clearly that the sides and the angles formed should be the same for it to be called a pentagon. Similarly, we can show them how we can create shapes using 6 vertices and 7 vertices as we move on to higher grades. This way, we use the geoboard to explain the concept of creating 2D shapes with definite vertices and to explain its characteristics. As we move forward, we can use the geoboard in 2 different ways. One side of the geoboard, we can learn about shapes formed by vertices and sides. On the other side, we can learn shapes that are curved, such as circles and its properties. Examples of circle in our day-to-day lives are coins, bangles, or when children play, they use a tenicoid ring. We can make many shapes and show them to the children. Let us see the other side of the geoboard now. Let us now observe what I am trying to do. I have connected the rubber band to all the inner vertices. If I count the number of vertices in this shape, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I get 12 points. So I have connected the rubber band in a particular direction to all 12 inner vertices that we have. By doing this, we get a shape which can be called a circle. You might be curious that after getting this shape, there is a point at the center of this shape. If you observe this point, you will notice that there is a relation to this point and to the shape we just now created. As we all know, where is the point? It is at the center of the shape. If you notice the line surrounding this point, is it straight or in a circular way? We can understand that this line is not straight but is a curved line. This curved line is also traveling in a definite direction. We can also notice that this curved line formed using all the vertices and the center point has an equal distance between them. So, we can use this method to explain the concept of circle and its properties for the primary school children. We can explain that the circle will always have a center point, and the area within the center point and the connected curved line can be called perimeter or the circumference. We can call this circumference as it surrounds or encompasses all the points through the curved line to form the shape. We call this the circumference because it completely covers the shape. To understand the properties of a circle, I now connect a rubber band from the center point to one of the vertices on the perimeter of the circle. This line, which we connect, gives us the very important understanding. To create a circle, this concept is very important. What do we call this? We call it radius. Will this line alone confirm the radius of a circle? No. To understand this better, we can connect another rubber band from the center point to another vertex on the perimeter. We now notice that the lines connected are of the same length. The next question is, how many radii can you draw for a circle? We can draw several radii and we can show that all of them are from the center point and to the perimeter, and all of them will be of the same length. What shall we do now? Let us do another thing. I have connected a rubber band from one point on the perimeter to the opposite point on the perimeter, representing it as a line. We saw earlier that when a line was drawn from the center point to the perimeter, we learnt it as the radius. Now we see the same line extended till the opposite point on the perimeter, going through the center point. If you observe, we see that it is 2 times radius. So a line drawn from the point on the perimeter to an opposite point on the perimeter and also passing through the center point of the circle gives us the diameter. Similarly, when we connect a line from this point on the perimeter to this point on the perimeter, can you see the difference? It goes from the perimeter to the perimeter. You will get a line called arc. So from this observation, we come to know center of a circle and the line that passes through the center point is the diameter. And a line that goes from the perimeter to the perimeter is called an arc. So in a circle, we have the center and a line passing through the center from the perimeter to the perimeter, and another line which does not go through the center. We can observe another feature. In a diameter, how many radii do we have? Diameter is made of 2 times radius, or putting it in another way, radius is equal to half the diameter. Through this example, we will be able to show the children the characteristics of diameter and the radius through measurements. Children usually keep coming across circular objects in their day-to-day life. It can be a coin or a bangle or any different circular shape object. Like this, we can make the children understand the geometrical properties of a circle. Using the TLM, we can make them understand it easily.